My name's Danette, and I'm from Colorado. My family's many generations, Colorado, New Mexico. I grew up in Brighton, Colorado, so my parents actually taught there. They did a lot of work with the migrants there. I've been doing kind of a spiritual quest, you would say, or a search. So, with that comes learning about your family and where you come from and your roots, and a lot of that has influenced my work in just exploring different indigenous artworks and going to ruins and being inspired by folklorico and craft. This project's a little bit about identity, cultural identity, and learning more about where I come from so that I can step more into a creative flow with that knowledge and story behind me. I love the Mesoamerican collection. I go in there and it feels like it's awe-inspiring to me, because these relics are so old and ancient, and they have carried on through the ages with this just spirit and story in them. The installation is called Las Almas de Muertas, or Muertos, the spirits of the dead. And it's inspired again by the idea that these stories are still alive in our ancestors, and the spirits are still alive, and that idea of taking the time, to hold space for that and hold reverence for that. And so this project's mostly inspired by what I see as the spirit of my ancestors, the spirit of many of our ancestors. And with that came the idea, the springboard of Dia de los Muertos, and the idea of, our ancestors kind of coming back and visiting us and having that moment and that story in our DNA and in our bones. It's it's in us. But essentially it's going to be a Quetzalcoatl. I'm using ephemeral materials such as paper, paper mache, to craft all of it. And the Quetzalcoatl will have its mouth open. Typically it'll have a warrior coming out of the mouth, but it's going to be a skull. And then out of that we'll be shooting butterflies. So the mariposas are considered the souls of the dead, and that's actually comes from the Aztec culture. And then have the ending with the butterflies actually returning into the Sacred Heart and going back, leaving, visiting and leaving us. So I really hope that they can step into, looking into their own roots and figuring out where they come from, because a lot of us has lost so much culture in the United States. Your families become assimilated once you're after your first, second generation, and I think that's why sometimes we all have the issues that we have, because we feel this loss of identity. Maybe that it'll inspire people to, say that they can, use art as a vehicle for, sparking their own imagination and finding identity.